meet him. I'm excited to see how he clashes with Kefka the Quiet.
Yeah, Kefka, I don't like mimes, generally as a rule. Kefka's the only one I make an exception for.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm really curious to see how Habib makes it around the wall. You know.
Oh, sure.
Those walls, they just, like, kind of magically appear sometimes. He has lassos that magically appear. I have no idea how Kefka the Quiet manages to do it, but he does. I'm always like, where did that come from? Where did the lasso come from?
And Habib from the Car Wash wrestles, I believe, in Dickies, in like Dickie pants, and which we know, like when you bend your legs, it doesn't really have a lot of give.
No.
So he's wearing those khaki pants. I'm surprised when I watch some of his matches how much he does in the ring, wearing those very stiff khaki pants. He's all over the place. He's diving out of the ring. He's jumping off the top rope. He flips, all that stuff. And it's crazy that he's does all that stuff in those pants.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now speaking of pants, another match, another team from Wrestle Pro, the Merry Men. They're gonna be wrestling in tag team action against a surprise opponent. And I've never seen them before, but I did watch their video. And I'm immediately like, this is great. Like, I was waiting for somebody to literally do, like, Robin Hood Men in Tights as a wrestling character. And it's like, finally.
It's here.
Finally. I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, gimmick tag teams. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Money Incorporated was, like, one of my favorite tag teams when I was, like, a kid. I'm like,
me too.
Awesome.
Me too.
And then, like, the Quebecers. I just absolutely loved the Quebecers. I don't even know what the point of that was, but other than they weren't Mounties, I really don't know. But I just absolutely love them. And so when I saw them, I kind of laughed because it was just kind of a throwback to that time. And I think, what a great set of characters,
I even liked the Beverly Brothers. I even liked they were called the Killer Bees. The Killer Bees.
Oh, yes.
Just stuff like that, where you have two guys, they have one character, and they go all in on that one character, and absolutely love it. Money Incorporated, definitely one of my favorites as well. And I actually knew his name's Nick. He's one of the Merry Men, and I met him on a show back in January, and that's when I learned about the Merry Men. He was a singles competitor on a show, but later I found out he has a tag team that he normally uses in Wrestle Pro as well. So I'm like, I see Merry Men, and I'm like, well, yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, we were talking about how we love characters so much and the early '90s wrestling, and obviously I'm a big fan of that as well. And I'm going with the Merry Men. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing them because, like I said, I've never seen them in action, but I just absolutely love the idea of the gimmick and the character, and it's just. I'm just surprised no one's done it sooner, to be very honest with you.
How about their theme? How about their theme music? I think that's great too.
I know it was great. I did enjoy it very much because I was watching it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is great!"
And that's another. And when we talk about early '90s wrestling, that's another aspect of what made me love it so much is something as simple as the entrance music.
Yes.
In my opinion, entrance music is it is a very big part of the match itself. As in, when that music hits, that is who that guy is. And when you have, in my opinion, a lot of like WWE's wrestlers, they use like real bands now. Like they'll use like, I don't know, name a few, like who does Edge's theme song or who did Edge?
Oh, I don't remember. I remember Christians, but like for example, like Motorhead does Triple H.
For sure.
For a good example.
Yeah, and they use bands that are established rock and roll bands, and I don't think that gives that character like an edge. Right. I don't think it gives him, like, he doesn't have a sense of edge. It's just he comes out to somebody else's song. When back in the early '90s, from what I believe, each wrestler had an artist that wrote that song for them, for that character, rather than them saying, okay, let's use Motorhead for Edge or Triple H for this example, but I loved how each guy had their own written entrance music.
Well,
no one else used it.
Yeah, it was, what they did was they used a lot of, and I don't know how much they really used him later, but in the early 90s, there was a lot of Jim Johnson. And he was like their guy on their staff who would do all the music. And sometimes he would work with Jimmy Hart, actually, to do some of the music. And he did a lot of those really well-known WWE themes, like, that we know. Like, I think he did The Undertaker. Pretty sure he did the Quebecers.
Positive he did Ultimate Warrior. I'm pretty positive on that one.
And all these music, and he was really good with having that first few notes, those first few beats, be really identifiable. Like when you hear a gong, you think immediately of The Undertaker. When you hear that weird sort of dun dun dun, you're thinking of the Quebecers, you know, or you know the Ultimate Warrior, that dun 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 dun. You know, you're thinking of the Ultimate Warrior, like, or the Macho Man using Pomp and Circumstance, you know, which he didn't write, but it was just a good choice, you know, things like that, or even Hulk Hogan, the Real American. You know, you heard the first few notes and you knew instantly before they even really walked out, before it started, that this is who you were going to say.
It is so important. It is so important. That theme song, and sometimes I think in wrestling now it gets looked over as maybe just a small aspect of a wrestling match. But that theme music is what people identify you as. It's your own theme song. It's written for you by Jim Johnson, but specifically for you. And yeah, when you had Papa Shango's music, and it's just the first, like you were saying, those first notes, you know, you stand up as a fan. You stand up and you say, oh wow, I'm excited to see this guy come out right now. Sure. And I think now I hear a theme song in WWE, sometimes, like if I don't watch the show for, let's say, a month, and I hear a theme song, I don't even know who's coming out to the ring. It's just it's a generic rock and roll song written by an established rock and roll band. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And back then, music was so important. Would Stone Cold Steve Austin be who he is now if he didn't have the glass breaking?
Right.
The glass breaking, and then dun 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 dun. I mean, that is, you stand up when that happens. And now I hear a rock and roll song and a guy comes out. There's not a good enough connection. It's not connecting with me as a fan. Music, definitely huge, very important.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's part of the whole sort of presentation. And I think with WWE too, not only are they using this more generic rock rather than these very specific songs, they're changing them a lot more too.
Yes, they are.
If we're going to talk about Claudio, we'll talk about Antonio Cesaro. He's had like 3 or 4 different theme songs already, and he's only been there a few years.
Thank you.
Like,
you know exactly what I'm talking about, because Hulk Hogan had one song, and it was the same song for 10 years. Right. But why Cesaro have 3 songs? I don't even know who's coming out. Sometimes when his song hits, I'm like, is that Cesaro? I don't know if it's Cesaro or maybe it's Edge. I really don't know.
And it's very much like that. Like, again, you know, you hear there's certain songs, even now, like, you know, if you're watching WrestleMania and you hear the Steve Austin breaking glass, you immediately know it's Steve Austin. He's had that theme song since, like, I would say, has to be like, 1997.
Yes.
You know, it hasn't changed since then. And you know what? It doesn't need to, because it fits in perfectly, because it was written for that character. Perfectly.
You got it.
And it really nailed it.
You hit the nail on the head right there. It was a song. I'm imagining Jim Johnson looking at the wrestler and looking at the character and saying, let's say Mankind, for example.
Right, yeah.
He looks at Mankind and he's thinking in his head what Mankind what should he sound like when he comes to the ring? What should be that sound that identifies you to Mankind? He picked the perfect song.
Right.
It was that kind of deranged, slow, creepy. That's perfect. But when you have rock and roll songs for the current WWE, I'm so against it. I'm so against them using established rock and roll bands like Nickelback, let's say, for example. I don't understand why these wrestlers need to have those types of songs, and they're probably paying a lot of money for licensing for those songs, right?
Yeah, I don't know how the music licensing works. I'm not sure if there's sort of like a kickback. Like, I don't know if actually maybe the WWE in some cases, WWE, excuse me, in some cases makes money, especially with these smaller bands. You know what I mean? For the opportunity to reach so many people, maybe they're even getting money from some of these smaller, bands and things like that to use their songs. Who even knows? I'm not sure what agreements they have, but I do agree that the changing and then the generic, definitely takes away from it. I want to go back to the card because there's definitely a lot more than what we talked about a lot. I mean, there's a lot of matches, a lot of different characters, but there are going to be a few other individuals there. So I know for a fact that I was reading Bobby Dempsey, who's also from Ring of Honor, will be there with Sly Stenson. They're coming. I haven't seen if they have opponents yet, or if they're just coming to crash the party, per se. But I did see they'll be there.
It'll be B. They're here to crash the party. That's pretty much.
Yeah, it seemed that way, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look good. I know that. And what I'm really interested to see is Grizzly Redwood, because I haven't seen Grizz in a long time. So I'm really curious. He's speaking out, so I'm kind of curious to see what he has to say. Because it's been such a long time, I think, since I've seen him around.
Hey, Grizzly Redwood has been a training partner of mine for many years. He was there my first day that I came to Ring of Honor school, and really, really relentless hard worker. And the lumberjack is perfect for him, I would say, because we know lumberjacks work really hard. And he's been injured. He had, I believe, knee surgery.
Oh, wow.
And he's expressed that he wants to get back in the ring and start off fresh. Nice. So he's going to be making a special announcement about his future in wrestling, and most notably in PWE. And we'll find out with him during a live interview, who he's looking at, who he wants to face in PWE, and again what his future is in wrestling. But definitely, I'm sure he's going to call somebody out that he wants to get in the ring with. So we'll see who that is at the show. But he's doing that. He's doing a live interview.
Very nice. I'm really interested in seeing what Grizzly has to say. Like I said, it's been a long time. I mean, I'm really familiar with him and Luke Harper now. Luke Harper when they were the Roughnecks.
Were they throwbacks?
No, they were the Roughnecks.
Oh, sorry.
The throwbacks are Mr. Touchdown and Dasher Hatfield and Sugar Dunkerton and all that. But they were part of the Roughnecks. It was him.
Yes.
And now Luke Harper, and actually at one point Eddie Kingston was part of that group. Actually, they were a trio, King of Trios, one year. That didn't last too long, but Eddie and Grizz didn't seem to get along too well. But anyway,
the Grizzly Redwood and Luke Harper, again, when we were talking about clash of styles and size, they really, I loved them as a tag team.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. Yeah,
they were a good team. That's what I remember Grizzly from. But he's also very he always seemed like a very fierce sort of wrestler. To kind of, I think, to make up for his size, because he's a smaller man, he just seemed to be extra fierce.
He is,
and I was always impressed by that.
That's his personality. Yeah. That's his personality outside of the ring too. He's a very dedicated. He's a dedicated guy. If he has a goal, he's gonna achieve it. And he's not letting this surgery on his knee stop him from going to the gym. He's at the gym every day. He has to be that way. He has to be a tough-minded guy with his size. It's kind of how he has to go about things, and so he's that way in the ring as well as Grizzly Redwood. He's tough in there. He's so he can hold his own. I've seen him plenty of times in Ring of Honor hold his own against Roderick Strong, which I believe they wrestled in New York, maybe in 2010, right around that time. Yeah, and he held his own against Roderick Strong. We know how hard Roderick Strong goes in the ring. He gives his entire body 100%, and he doesn't let go either. He doesn't stop. And Grizzly held his own in there with guys like Roderick Strong and even the Necro Butcher, guys like that. So, he's a tough guy, and I'm curious to see what he has to say when he does that live interview.
Absolutely, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that as well. And then also too, Robbie E from TNA is going to make an appearance as well.
He expressed that he wanted he wanted to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not bringing him in for a match, but mm-hmm. He's definitely going to have something to say. But that's going to be a surprise what he has to say, or who he's going to get involved with. So we're not sure right now what's going to happen, but he's definitely going to get involved somewhere.